Warm welcome. This is Markus Termin at the 9th of December 2024. It's Sunday and it's we call it a second Advent in German. I don't know how the English pronunciation is therefore, and I want to put out the focus today on something very special that happened yesterday, which was actually the reopening of the Notre Dame in Paris. And as you know, the president-elect came to join the reopening, and also President Zelensky from the Ukraine met there with Donald Trump in Paris, and President Macron kind of brought them together. And this was a very unique event because the Notre Dame is a symbol of Christianity, and the reopening is an interesting fact. Now, how does astrology reflect on all that? That it might be interesting to have a look on the very beginning when the Notre Dame was first built, when they laid the foundation stone of that cathedral. And if we have a look at that, this was the year 1163. We don't know an exact date, but it's very probable that they started the construction in summertime, so I picked a June. And what is very sure about this chart is that we are in the phase of Pluto in the sign of Gemini, if you realize that. And in the opposition, there is Saturn, and we have Neptune in opposition. So the axis in between Gemini and Sagittarius, and this is what I want to focus on today, is most important. Now, if we have a look at the fire of Notre Dame, which happened at 5 years ago. This was 1919, and it happened right before the Danse Macabre began, that we are kind of getting out of, obviously a little bit. Then you can see that, what the inside shows is the beginning. No, this is the outside. The outside again shows the beginning of the building, 1163. And on the inside you see the destruction, the arson fire or whatever, the fire. And as you can see, again, it's the axis in between Gemini and Sagittarius that is to be proven most relevant on this building, because see, this is the beginning of the building, having Mars in the sign of Gemini, probably the Sun, Pluto for sure, and Mars in Gemini for the start, for the arson, or for the fire in general. Also, there are interesting point of views on the other hand, which is the North Node being at the same position and things like that. But mainly it's the axis in between Gemini and Sagittarius. Now, as you know, Donald Trump himself is a Gemini-born person with a Sagittarius moon. Now, let's have a look at this chart to get it even more complicated. Those of you who are more interested in astrology can stop the movie at this point and have a look at this chart. What do we see here? Now, first of all, in the very inside, you have the chart of Donald Trump. This is his chart. This is his Sagittarius moon close to the sun eclipse. There is a Gemini sun, Uranus in Gemini, the North Node in Gemini. That's what's really happening. On the outside, the middle circle, the middle circle is the arson, the fire that happened to Notre Dame. There you can see Mars and Jupiter happening on the same axis in between Gemini and Sagittarius. right? And on the very outside, you can see the happenings right now, which is Jupiter almost in an opposite position to the fire Jupiter. It takes him a little bit to get into the real opposition. But when the fire happened, we had Mars in Gemini and Jupiter in Sagittarius. Now Jupiter is in Gemini. And again, you can see this is the axis that we are talking about. On the very outside, there's the present chart. You know, at the middle ring, you can see the fire. And at the inside here, we have the chart of Donald Trump, which is a Gemini Sagittarius person. We could go deep into details of all the other symbols, but the sense of my Sunday reading today is just to show you how astrology works throughout the centuries, you know, giving us the necessary information that it's all about Sagittarius and Gemini. It's all about wisdom and knowledge. And of course, the Notre Dame is not anything. It's an important point. It's the reawakening sign of Christianity, I would say, in some sense, whatever Christianity is. Here again, you got a chart of the fire in the inside, you know, Jupiter in Sagittarius, Mars in Gemini. Now Jupiter is in Gemini and the Sun and Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. This is the present chart and this is the chart of the fire. So you can see all those things are closely connected to the very beginning of the building. Having a last view on the chart of Emmanuel Macron, the president who brought them together, you will find out that he's also very close to the axis of Gemini and Sagittarius. What he has in common with Donald Trump is a Mars in the sign of Leo. And interesting enough, his Mars in the sign of Leo is retrograde, which means always a little late to act, you know, because what he's doing now actually is something very different from what he has done years before. He's stepping up and kind of putting himself in front of the upcoming peace front, which is not avoidable, I think, hopefully. And this is actually what they have in common, you know. They have a Mars in Leo. But he's also, as you can see, strong in the sign of Sagittarius. Macron's sun is right in between Sagittarius and Capricorn. Formally, he's still a Sagittarius guy. And down here in the sign of Gemini, at least you can see the Lilith. Jupiter is not very far away from that. Well, that goes to show you how relevant astrology is, and it shows us that the happenings now around Christianity, Notre Dame and everything like that are not on an everyday's level. This is historic. There are some things evolving that go deep into history and deep into time. If you want to get involved in finding out what is your personal connection to all those things, just give me a mail. This address will be efficient. Time, date and place where you were born will do. And down here at my blog site, you'll find the conditions for the consultation. Thank you very much. Markus Termin, Astrologisches Stundenbuch at the, the 8th of December 2024.